أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونشكره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا مثيل ولا بداية ولا نهاية له. وأشهد أن سيدنا وعظمنا وقائدنا وقرة أعيننا محمد عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فجزاه الله عنا خير ما جزى نبيا من أنبيائه، صلوات الله عليه وعلى كل نبي أرسله. عباد الله، أوصي نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله العلي العظيم. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم التنزيل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Praise be to Allah, to the Creator of the world. I bear witness there is absolutely nothing worthy to be worshipped except Allah, the Creator of this universe, who has no beginning nor an end to his existence. I bear witness Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is indeed his prophet and the messenger to all mankind. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I remind myself to be steadfast and wholeheartedly to follow the commandment of Allah in all places, in all circumstances. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, our topic today are two very significant, important matters in Islam. One is riba, backbiting. The other one is al-hasad, disease of envy. In the light of the Quran and the Hadith, we are going to briefly visit this very powerful disease that are widespread, devastate individual, social, and family life. What is backbiting? ذكرك أخاك حيا كان أو ميتا بما يكره. Mentioning of your brother, and sister who dislike to talk about them behind them are not allowed. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. Allah equated such scenes, said, أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدَكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Who among us will love or have an appetite to eat a dead meat? You have no desire. That is how Allah equated backbiting, how sinful it is. Why do you mention of your brother and sister behind him? Why? Where is your love for your brother if you claim you love him? Why you mention him ill? What about if something that he have that weaknesses or something that has a shortcoming? You are not permitted to mention that. Advising is one, saying behind him ill is one thing. Oh, he is so disorganized. He is controlled by his wife. His children are messy. If even though that the case is not allowed to mention that. It make your friendship and brotherhood and sisterhood be divided and going far apart. The ulama identified the sins of the tongue, about 36 of them. One have to learn what are they. This instrument that is in our mouths is small, but has a huge weight in terms of its functionality. Yes, through our tongue we communicate. Yes, through our tongue we take shahada. Yes, through our tongue we recite Quran. We praise Allah, Jalla Jalaluhu. We give salutation to the Prophet. Yes, through the tongue one insults his own brother, his own sister. Through one statement can take a person out from the fold of Islam. One single statement. You have to be very careful. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah said to that effect, وَلَقَدْ قَالُوا كَلِمَةَ الْكُفْرِ. One statement they say, if saying that Allah is incapable of solving my problem. Allah is not aware of my problem. Allah is not in charge of my life. What do you mean Allah is not in charge of your life? Yes, Allah is in charge of our life. Who gave you life to begin with? Allah. Who nourished you? Allah. Who sustained you? Allah. Who gave death? Ultimately Allah. Be mindful of this fact. Be mindful and be conscious. Don't be saying, I am free, freedom of speech. Yes, there is freedom of accountability that comes with it. Yes, you can speak, but you can also hold accountable for what you say. Even in the court of law here on earth, one statement can hold you accountable. I want to kill you. That statement, if somebody recorded you and proved you that you said it, you will be held accountable for that single statement. It's not a joke. The same thing in Islam, we have that rules as well. So we have to respect the rule of Allah as we respect the law of land as well. So when can you mention of your brother in his back, in his absence? There are 6 categories. I'll briefly mention them. Al-awwal at-tadallum. If you are somebody done unjust to you, you go into the court of law, you want to testify behind that person, what you saw, what you witnessed, you can speak. The wife can say, yes, Your Honor, the judge, he did this and that to me in his absence. That does not consider backbiting. That is, you go seeking sword justice for the dhulm. Second, al-isti'ana ala taghyir al-munkar wal-'asi ila as-sawab. If you see somebody a sinner who's doing this so a sinner, speaking of that, you wanted to comply to obedience, that does not consider backbiting. Third, al-istifta' فيقول المفتي ظلمني أبي. Again, to go to the judge, mufti, and say, my father did unjust to me, my brother did unjust to me. What did he do? He did this, he did this. Only stick to what has done, no more. الرابع تحذير المسلمين من الشر. Fourth, if you know somebody who's cheating, when it's got to saying this is, he said it halal, the meat. You work there, you know it's not for you that's halal. You are obligated to speak about it, to prevent from that doesn't consider that you are backbiting. Fifth, أن يكون مجاهرا بفسقه أو بدعته فيجوز ذكره بما يجاهره. Somebody who's doing his sin publicly, he's not ashamed of what he's doing, then speaking of such will not consider as backbiting. And the last thing is six, speaking of a person with particular descriptive in his body. Maybe he's blind, maybe he's handicapped. Not to degrade him, people know him by saying, you first try to avoid, you say Ahmed. Which Ahmed? There are so many Ahmed. Ahmed so and so, he didn't get it. Which Ahmed? Oh, you try your best to explain who is that Ahmed that you try to relate the story to. But if you do not calculate and understand who that Ahmed is, oh, the brother who's sitting in a wheelchair, you are not degrading him, you just try to mention, to identify who is. Oh, the brother who's doing some janitorial work without in your heart degrading him will show sensitivity to identify certain circumstances allowed. Let me take you to the story of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Imam al-Nawawi mentioned in his book Kitab al-Adhkar. One man came in to backbite to him. He said, Ya hada qif. Before you tell me the story, I'm going to recite to you two verses. Tell me which verse is going to apply to you, then I will listen to you. The first one he recited to him, he said, Hammadim Masha'Allah binamim. You tell me backbiting behind the person as if you are caring about me, telling me, I am going to confront you. Are you going to say the same thing in front of that person? If not, I'm not interested to listen. He says second verse, what is applied to you? He said, what you are trying to tell me is I'm going to judge you in the light of the Quran and Sunnah. The man was free. He said, Afawtuka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Who's Amir al-Mu'mineen? Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, was the fifth Khalifa for the Ummah, who ruled on this earth with full justice. You will be surprised in his government, because of the justice that filled the earth and his government, he could not find one single poor to give money to. He had tremendous wealth, treasury in his government. He gathered the scholars and said, what am I supposed to do to this wealth? They gave him the advice to do three things. Number one, he said, take from the treasury of the government, free the slave. The slave gave the freedom. A lot of wealth left. Second, they told him to free those who are in debt. All those who are in debt, he gave them the money. They're free from debt. When a person is indebted, he does not smile. Always weak, always down, always crushed. Debt is a serious worry. Some to a person who went through this always will wake up. When you wake up, oh Allah, I still owe that money. I didn't pay off my home. I didn't pay off this. I didn't this. Always worry. For the debt and poverty and lack of employment, I will also mention, insert one hadith of the Prophet. There was a companion by name Aba Umama. The Prophet asked him, Ya Aba Umama, mali araka fil masjid fi ghayri waqt as-salah. Oh Aba Umama, why do I see you in the masjid and the time for the salah is not in? His companion replied, he said, Humumun wa diyunun lazamatni ya Rasulullah. He said, I am worried and tension. I am in debt. That is what just drove me crazy. I'm coming to the masjid. Then the Prophet said, Alhemdulillah, أَفَلَا أُعَلِّمُكَ كَلِمَاتٍ إِذَا قُلْتَهُ أَذْهَبُ اللَّهُ ذَلِكَ عَنْكَ. Can I teach you a words to say, dua, so that it will wipe off and eliminate this worry that you have, lack of employment, lack of job, lack of wealth that you are seeking, halal wealth. He said, yes, Ya of the Prophet of Allah. He said, say the following. I want you to memorize. Some of you know it, may not use it, but use it, it works. Say the following. Said, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan. The first thing is it, oh Allah, I seek refuge by you to remove this sadness and worrisome from my chest and from my mind. Wipe it off. One. Second, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنَ الْعَجْزِ وَالْكَسَلِ. Oh Allah, remove from me being incapacitated, being from lazy, but I applied for a job, I see no result. My resume is not good. My record is not good. There are a lot of job seekers out there. Allahu Akbar. I remember this, I was in Canada once, I was for da'wah. One of the brothers, he said, Sheikh, I really applied for so many jobs, I couldn't find a job. I told him this dua. Before I tell him the dua, I said, what is the problem? I asked him. Well, there are so many Chinese in town. It was Vancouver, BC, in Canada. When I was in, I said, what your result has to do with the Chinese? What has to do with the Chinese? It has nothing to do with Chinese, with numbers, with here. It has nothing to do. It's already written for you. You just, وَأَنَّ لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانَ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. You just make the effort and leave the rest to Allah. Khalas. And then I wrote this dua for him. Wallahi, within 2 days, while I'm there, Sheikh, all of a sudden I started to receive a phone call. So many interviews came after that. I said, it worked. Believe in it, it worked. So, أعوذ بك من العجز والكسل. Third one, وأعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل. What is jubn? The rizq is going to open. You're going to have the wealth. Then don't be stingy. Allah said, وَأَنفِقُوا. Give. Allah did not say hold. وَأَنفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. From the wealth I have given you, give back. You're going to get the wealth. The Prophet is teaching him. But learn to give back. وَأَنفِقُوا. Give, as Allah said. So that is what entails in the dua. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنَ الْجُبْنِ وَالْبُخْلِ. Don't be fearful. What am I going to eat next month? What am I going to pay this month and next month? That should not be your worry. Your worry should be your effort. Your worry should be ibadah, your obedience. Lastly, then this is what the man was looking for. All these three things empowered him what benefit him the most. And then lastly, he told him what he was looking for. وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ غَلَبَةَ الدَّيْنِ وَقَهْرِ الرِّجَالِ. What does that mean is, oh Allah, I seek refuge by you from the debt being overwhelming me and liberate me from this debt. وَقَهْرِ الرِّجَالِ is like today what we call it collection. Those they used to also hold collateral. If you don't pay, I'm going to take your this from you. It used to be there. The name is changed. Now the name is called collection. So he said, I started this dua and Allah open up for me. The world is open up for me. And he gained all what he's looking for. It worked today in America, in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, anywhere you go to. Believe in it, practice it. But the dua to work, when you pray to Allah to work, there is prerequisite. Like, when you go to the college, you cannot get to certain program unless you take an English, unless you take this. And dua to work, there are prerequisites. What is it? The Prophet outlined it. He said, طيب مطعمك تكون مستجاب الدعوة. Eat halal. Drink halal. Wear halal. Ask halal. You will see the result. Wallah, it worked. And the Prophet warned and said, فَأَنَّا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ. If you eat haram, you are blocking your own dua. What does that mean? Let me tell you what does that mean, eating haram. What it means? Oh Allah, do not respond to my dua. That's what are you saying to yourself? The interpretation of eating haram. You are telling to yourself, oh Allah, do not answer to my prayer. That's what you are telling to yourself when you eat haram. You have wealthy of option to eat halal. Whether it is meat or veggie, you have many options. Why you go to haram, my brother and sister? Why? Why? You already have it. Why you become enemy to yourself? Why? Why you become an enemy to your own soul? So that is very important to underline and be mindful so that our dua to work. And then I will quickly travel to the second topic, which is hasad, envy. The most powerful disease that disintegrates many families, many communities, many individuals. What is envy? Envy or hasad is defined as ill feeling to your own brother. You want the world that your brother have to be destroyed and come to you. Why? Why you want to see the sadness of your brother and sister? Why? That is sickness in the heart. That's a disease of the heart. If your heart is not your enemy and your heart is functioning right, every single Muslim brother and sister, when they gain, your heart automatically should joy if your heart is really functioning right. If your heart is filled with disease, every time somebody gain, you get mad. Know that the indication your heart has been visited or occupied by the devil, and the spirit of the devil is controlling your heart. That is the most devastating sickness one might have. Be your enemy to yourself, enemy to your fellow humanity for that matter. The first sins on earth that took place is the son of Adam. In the house of the family of Prophet Adam, Qabil and Habil, he killed his own biological brother. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. The first sins on earth was hasad, disease of that envy of end up killing his own brother. He was so devastated. That was the first sin on earth. The first sin on earth was envy, hasad of Prophet Adam's son, killed his own brother. It is not something joke, you take it lightly. It visited in the house of the prophet is where they received revelation. In the house of Prophet Yusuf, with his own brother, the envy visited them. They tried to eliminate their own biological brother Yusuf, who was the prophet. Why? إني رأيت 11 كوكبا لي سنين قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك. The conversation between the son, Prophet Adam, Prophet Yusuf, with his father Yaqub, he saw what he saw in dream, was relating his dream to his father. The father was advising him, be mindful, don't mention this story of the ru'ya, the beautiful dream you see to your brother. They overheard this conversation. That is where it took the snap of the shot, the attack of the devil and the shaitan to work among the brothers. That's why they developed the enmity toward their own brother. They throw him in the well. That's the least thing they can do. They just want to eliminate him on the face of earth. But Allah put him back to life. One thing for sure, the person that you are envy of, always Allah will rise him up. Always Allah will lift him up. So your intention of envy is not working. It's not working. You may think that you blocking this road from him, Allah will open up another gate for him. You try to maybe be the reason for his being fired from his job because of that sickness, that envy. Allah will give him sustainment better than the job the first he had. Allah always will lift him up. Always. So don't choose the footstep of the devil that are unhealthy. How many people are end up in jail because of envy? How many people are killed because of envy? How many people, their family is destroyed because of envy? In the case of Prophet Yusuf, gave us Allah for generation to come a lesson to learn. Among other things, when you treat with your own children, that doesn't mean Prophet Yaqub was not fair to the rest of his children. He is. He's the best modality. He's the best model. But he was unintentional. He didn't know that the conversation would be over here. So when you treat your children, from Ali and Mustafa, Zainab and Ahmed, treat them absolutely equal in their eyes. No differentiation whatsoever. I know every parent will have one child favor over another one. That is the heart control. You cannot do anything. You may love one child versus over another child. That's maybe okay. It is in the heart thing that it will not be held accountable. What it is counted for is your treatment of them. How do you treat them? Embrace them together. Love them together. Treat them absolutely across the board equally. Treat them. So that they will learn from you. Then they will pass it on to their children and grandchildren. That kind of fairness with no preference treatment to the children. That's lesson one. Lesson two is when you see a beautiful dream. Yes, you don't mention it to everybody left and right. You choose somebody who have a healthy mind, somebody that are good wishing, somebody that may know the interpretation of the dream, then you relate it to them. Third is be sensitive to fellow brother and sister's feeling. Somebody who barely have one clothes, a torn clothes, in front of him to crush him, don't say, I bought this shoes, I bought that shoes, I bought this, I bought this, obsessive thing bombarding him, making him look, hating himself. Be sensitive to the others as well. I'm not saying to hide the ni'mah that Allah gave you. Allah said, فَعَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. The ni'mah, the pleasure that Allah gave you, recognize it, appreciate it, but don't use it as a tool to crush someone else with their feeling. Allah said in the Quran, أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا أَتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. How the people will be envy from the blessing that Allah gave to a brother or a sister. Why? Why you are mad? So and so he got this. So and so she got this. Why? Why? Don't bring that why question to the distribution of Allah's wealth to His creation. Don't do that. Accept what Allah has given to His creation. Lastly, I forgot to repeat the story of Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. First, he freed the slave. Second, he freed those who are indebted. Lastly, he brought the youngsters in, oh ya shabab, oh youngster who want to get married, come get money from the treasury of the government and get married. Many youth got married in a foreign family. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Among his quality of leadership and a man of his adhkar, always he says the following dua, Ya Rabbi, O Allah, إنك جعلت الشيطان يجري مجرى الدم في جسمي. Oh Allah, you have given the devil to run into my blood cell. إن لم تعني عليه, unless you immune me, unless you protect me, I have nothing to overcome. I have no power to overcome the devil. Always is seeking Allah's protection against the devil. And Allah always gave him that protection. Once he was entering the masjid with his one of Wazir, one of his minister. It was kind of darkish. He didn't saw a man, he stepped over him. The man who was attacked, he was so upset. He said, Anta a'ma? Are you a blind man? He didn't know he was talking to the Khalifa. Sayyidina Khalifa Umar ibn Abdul Aziz said, no, I'm not. The Wazir is trying to agitate him. Sayyidi, don't you see how he's insulting you? He doesn't know you are the king, you are the Amir. He's saying to you, you are a blind. قال له اسكت. You keep quiet. الرجل سألني حقا. He said, the man asked me a right question, and I said, I'm not a blind. Simple, end of story. Don't make me agitated and get me excited to punish him. How many people today, the people of power, or whether it is the manager in the company or something, little bit they see, they use their power left and right wrongly. When Allah give you power, it's for a reason. When Allah give you wealth, it's for a reason. Don't abuse it. Don't abuse it. Be grateful and be just to every human being that you come encounter with. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, be mindful of this devil always to try to take us in his footsteps. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطْوَاتَ الشَّيْطَانِ. Allah is ordering us not to follow the footsteps of the devil. Everybody must hate the devil. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ عَدُوٌّ لَكُمْ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. He's a declared enemy, declared war on humanity, on us. You cannot make him friend. We should declare war on him. Why? Do opposite what he likes, do opposite. He doesn't pray, you pray. When we do the sujood, he hates it. We make the sujood to Allah, not to the creation. To Allah, Allah, Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one allocated arzaq to His creation. Some of them are wealthy, some are in between. Allah said to the creation, the way He created, Sun'ullah allati atqanakum li shay. Look how everything precisely going without doing it. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون. Look at the movement of the moons, how they operate. There is no collision at all, no delay. Look, the sun, the time she come out, the time she go out, in, precisely, nothing, second delay. Don't you just pay attention? Who makes this thing work? Allah, Allah, no Allah. Imam Al-Ghazali said, لا تصح العبادة إلا بعد معرفة المعبود. Meaning, unless you know who you worship, your form of worship is invalid. You have to know Allah in His proper befitting attribute. He sees everything. He doesn't need an eye. Yes, it's different. That's why he said, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. He sees everything. He doesn't need an eye. He hears everything. He doesn't need an ear. That's why we quietly pray. What does that entail? Allah needs no voice to scream, to pray. He listens to it. That's the proper befitting of attributes of Allah. He sees everything. He doesn't need an eye. He hears everything. He doesn't need an ear. He has the power, overpower any power on the face of earth. That power, when you bring it to your heart, no sickness will scare you. No disease will scare you. No poverty will scare you. Because you know the power of Allah is with you. How will you not become fearful at all? Whatever, no matter what sickness you face, how devastating story your doctors may tell you, if you are a firm believer in your heart, yes, هو المحيي وميت. He is the one who gave me life. He is the one who gave me death. I'll end up with one story in Egypt, one very solid, God-fearing worshipper went to see his doctor. The doctor saw him, diagnosed him, said, you have this type of cancer. Your survival ratio is very limited. From what I see, according to his doctor analysis, about 6 months. This man was very, very solid, firm believer. He looked at the eyes of the doctor. He told him, can you repeat what you said? He said, from what I see, about 6 months, that's it. That's what I see. He said, Allah knows when I'm going to die. Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Said, Allah will suffice me from this bad news that you are relating to me. And he walked out. 6 months passed by, he went back to see that doctor. That doctor that day was not available. Another doctor saw him. He said, where is the doctor? The doctor died before the patient. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Say Allahu Akbar. Say Allahu Akbar. In 6 months, the doctor himself gone before the patient. Now the new doctor diagnosed him. The diagnostic result was 0. There may be some error in the machine. They run him to another machine. They run 0. The third, another machine. They run 0. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Have faith. Don't be empathy in your heart, walking like a robotic machine, praying. And let your eye pray. Let your heart pray. Let your ear pray. Let your mouth pray. Let your hand pray. Let's be transformational worshiper. That mover and shaker is what the teaching of Islam is. May Allah give us that tawfiq. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يا فوز المستغفرين استغفر الله. ونستعينه ونستهديه ونشكره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا مثيل ولا نداية له. عين العين فلا عين له، كيف الكيف فلا كيف له، ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وأشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وقائدنا وقرة أعيننا محمد عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة، فجزاه الله عنا خير ما جزى نبيا من أنبيائه صلوات الله عليه وعلى كل نبي أرسله. عباد الله، أوصي نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله العلي العظيم. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال تعالى: قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. Praise be to Allah, to the Creator of the world. I bear witness there is absolutely nothing worthy to be worshipped except Allah, the Creator of this universe, who has no beginning nor an end to his existence. I bear witness Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam indeed his prophet and the messenger to all mankind. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I remind myself to be steadfast wholeheartedly to follow the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In conclusion, my brothers, remember the last verse that I recited, a wiqaya, a protection from hasidin. For those who are hasad, read قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. Read the mu'awwidhatain before you sleep. When you go out, read Ayat al-Kursi and seek the protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibadallah, inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. كما صليت على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال محمد وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال محمد في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الاحياء منهم والاموات انك قريب مجيب الدعوات. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعافي مبتلانا وفك اسرانا وارحم موتانا. اللهم انصر الاسلام والمسلمين. اللهم اخذل من خذل هذا الدين. اللهم رد المسلمين الى دينك ردا جميلا. اللهم ارفع البلاء عن امه محمد. اللهم اقضي حوائج امه محمد. اللهم اشف مرضاة امه محمد. اللهم ارحمنا يا ارحم الراحمين. اللهم اغفر لنا يا غفور رحيم. اللهم انا نعوذ بك من الهم والحزن ونعوذ بك من العجز والبخل ونعوذ بك من الجبن والبخل ونعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. واذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.